Before it became a cultural phenomenon, The Terminator was nothing more than a desperate gamble. An unknown director with a wild vision, a tiny budget, a script born from literal nightmares. Nobody believed it would work, but behind the iconic metal skeleton and cold, mechanical terror lay a production fueled by chaos, broken equipment, and sheer determination. Lawsuits threatened to destroy it. Machines refused to cooperate. Real injuries became part of the performance. This is the story of how one fevered dream became a cinematic legend, and these secrets reveal the madness, luck, and obsession that made it possible. Number 1. Born from a fever dream. Nightmares have a way of haunting us, but few have changed cinema forever. In 1981, James Cameron found himself alone in a Rome hotel room, burning with fever and delirium. His body was weak, his mind adrift in dark visions he couldn't control. Then he saw it, a metallic skeleton rising from flames, its red eyes glowing with inhuman purpose. The image was so vivid, so terrifying, that Cameron jolted awake in a cold sweat. But instead of forgetting it, he grabbed a napkin and sketched what he'd seen. The vision haunted him for days. He couldn't shake the image of that relentless machine, crawling through fire to complete its mission. When he returned to Los Angeles, Cameron turned that fever dream into a screenplay about an unstoppable killer from the future. What started as a sick man's hallucination became the blueprint for one of the most iconic villains in film history, a machine that would never stop, never sleep, and never feel mercy. Number 2. The $1 gamble that built an empire. Desperation makes people do strange things, but selling your screenplay for $1 seems insane. Yet that's exactly what James Cameron did when he pitched The Terminator to producers. He wasn't being generous. He was being strategic. Cameron had one non-negotiable condition. He would direct the film himself. Studios laughed at the idea. He'd only directed one feature before, the low-budget horror film Piranha 2, which had been a disaster. But Cameron refused to budge. He'd rather own nothing and control everything than sell out and watch someone else ruin his vision. Producer Gail Ann Hurd saw something in him and took the deal. For just $1, she bought the rights to a script that would eventually spawn a billion-dollar franchise. That single dollar became the best investment in sci-fi history. Cameron's stubborn refusal to compromise gave him the power to build his nightmare exactly as he'd imagined it, and proved that sometimes betting on yourself is worth more than any paycheck. Number 3. The Terminator who almost wasn't Arnold. Finding the perfect killing machine wasn't easy, and the studio's first choice seems laughable now. Executives wanted O.J. Simpson to play the Terminator. They thought his athleticism and screen presence would make him perfect for the role. Cameron took one look and said no. His reasoning was simple and chilling. Simpson seemed too pleasant, too friendly. Nobody would believe he could be a cold-blooded killer, Cameron argued. The studio pushed back, but Cameron held firm. He needed someone who could embody pure menace without saying a word. Then Arnold Schwarzenegger walked into a meeting, originally being considered for the role of Kyle Reese. As Arnold described how the Terminator should move and behave, Cameron had an epiphany. Schwarzenegger's mechanical gestures, emotionless delivery, and sheer physical presence were exactly what the role demanded. Cameron left that meeting knowing he'd found his Terminator, and the bodybuilder turned actor would become inseparable from the character forever. Number 4. The casting battle for Sarah Connor. Studio executives had a vision for Sarah Connor, and it was completely wrong. They wanted a glamorous Hollywood starlet, someone beautiful, polished, and marketable. They saw the role as a damsel in distress who needed to look good while running from danger. Cameron saw something entirely different. He needed authenticity, not glamour. Sarah Connor wasn't supposed to be a superhero or a sex symbol. She was an ordinary waitress thrust into an impossible situation. Cameron fought hard for Linda Hamilton, an actress who brought raw, believable vulnerability to the screen. Hamilton proved him right in every frame. Her performance captured the transformation from everyday woman to hardened survivor with devastating realism. She wasn't playing a character, she was becoming one. That authenticity turned Sarah Connor into one of cinema's most powerful female characters, proving that truth on screen matters more than star power ever could. Number 5. Love behind the machines. While the production descended into controlled chaos, something unexpected was happening behind the camera. James Cameron and producer Gail Ann Hurd were falling in love. Their relationship remained a carefully guarded secret as cameras rolled and deadlines loomed. The partnership between director and producer became both creative and romantic. Heard wasn't just financing Cameron's vision, she was shaping it, challenging it, and protecting it from studio interference. Their late-night script sessions blurred the line between professional collaboration and personal connection. That hidden romance became the glue holding the troubled production together. When equipment failed, when money ran out, when everything seemed ready to collapse, their partnership kept the film alive. They married shortly after filming wrapped, though the relationship wouldn't last forever. But for those crucial months, their combined determination and shared vision helped birth a masterpiece that neither could have created alone. Number 6. The lead's real pain on set. The first day of shooting should have been exciting, but for Linda Hamilton, it became an ordeal. During an early scene, she sprained her ankle badly. The injury was severe enough that most productions would have shut down for weeks. Hamilton refused to stop. Cameron needed her in constant motion, running, climbing, fighting for survival. Every step sent pain shooting through her leg, but she gritted her teeth and pushed through. The production couldn't afford delays, and Hamilton knew it. She wrapped her ankle, took deep breaths, and kept moving. What could have been a disaster became an unexpected gift. Her visible discomfort, the slight limp, the exhaustion in her eyes, all of it made Sarah Connor's terror more real. Audiences felt her struggle because it was genuine. Hamilton's refusal to quit didn't just save the schedule, it added a layer of authentic suffering that no amount of acting could have created. Number 7. Only 58 words of dialogue. The Terminator speaks less than you remember. Throughout the entire film, Arnold Schwarzenegger utters just 58 words. For a character that became one of cinema's most quoted, that number seems impossible. But James Cameron understood that silence creates menace. Early script drafts had the Terminator speaking much more, explaining his mission and responding to situations. Cameron began cutting dialogue during rewrites, realizing that every word made the character seem more human. Machines don't make small talk. They don't justify their actions. They simply execute their programming with cold efficiency. Schwarzenegger's limited vocabulary forced him to communicate through physicality and presence. His blank stare said more than paragraphs of dialogue ever could. The few words he does speak, "I'll be back," "Your clothes, give them to me," hit harder because they're surrounded by menacing silence. Cameron turned a potential weakness into the character's greatest strength, proving that what you don't say can be more powerful than any speech. Number 8. "I'll be back" nearly vanished. Movie history almost lost its most iconic catchphrase over a grammar disagreement. The script originally read, "I'll be back," but Arnold Schwarzenegger wasn't comfortable with the contraction. His thick Austrian accent made the line feel awkward in his mouth. So he asked Cameron to change it to, "I will be back." Cameron refused. The two argued on set, with Arnold insisting the longer version would sound better. Cameron stood firm, explaining that "I'll be back" was blunt, direct, and mechanical, exactly how the Terminator should speak. The informality made it more threatening, not less. Schwarzenegger finally relented and delivered the line as written. That simple phrase, spoken with cold certainty before the Terminator drives a car through a police station, became one of the most quoted lines in cinema. Neither man could have predicted it would follow Arnold for the rest of his career, appearing in countless films, interviews, and parodies. A two-word disagreement created a cultural phenomenon. Number 9. Shades that saved the scene. Those iconic sunglasses weren't part of the original plan. They were a desperate cover-up. During filming, the crew struggled with Arnold's eye prosthetic, which was supposed to reveal the machine beneath damaged flesh. The prosthetic kept malfunctioning, looking fake under the lights and refusing to stay in place properly. With the clock ticking and money burning, the costume department grabbed a pair of dark sunglasses and slid them onto Arnold's face. It was meant as a temporary fix until they could solve the prosthetic problem. But when Cameron looked through the camera, he saw something unexpected. Instant cool. The sunglasses transformed the character. They added mystery, menace, and an unforgettable silhouette. What started as a panicked solution to a technical failure became one of the most recognizable images in film history. The Terminator's look, leather jacket, sunglasses, expressionless face, became the template for countless action heroes and villains. A wardrobe malfunction accidentally created an icon. Number 10. The $1 code of the future. Creating a post-apocalyptic warrior's costume doesn't require a fortune. It requires vision. Kyle Reese's battered trench coat, the garment that helped define his war-torn character, came from a thrift store. The costume department paid exactly $1 for it. That cheap coat perfectly captured everything Cameron wanted to convey about Reese's world. It looked lived in, battle-scarred, and desperate. The frayed edges and worn fabric told a story of survival against impossible odds. No expensive costume designer could have created something that felt more authentic. The irony wasn't lost on the crew. Cameron had sold his script for $1, and now a $1 coat was helping bring his vision to life. The find became a symbol of the entire production's scrappy, make-it-work mentality. When you're building a future on a shoestring budget, sometimes the best treasures are hiding in the places nobody else thinks to look. Number 11. Built in a hotel room. Special effects, legend Stan Winston didn't have the luxury of a professional workshop for one of sci-fi's most terrifying creations. The iconic Terminator endoskeleton was built in a cramped hotel room with minimal equipment and endless determination. Winston and his small team worked in conditions that would make most artists quit. The space was barely large enough to move around in, let alone construct a full-scale mechanical puppet. Tools, parts, and metal pieces covered every surface. Yet Winston treated that hotel room like a sacred workshop, meticulously crafting each component of the endoskeleton by hand. Cameron would visit regularly, sitting on the edge of the bed, while Winston demonstrated how the skull would move or how the fingers would articulate. The endoskeleton's design, skeletal, predatory, inhuman, became the visual heart of the film. What they accomplished without resources or proper facilities proved that talent and vision matter more than fancy studios ever could. Number 12. Music born from a broken synth. The most recognizable theme in sci-fi history was born from technical failure. Composer Brad Fiedel worked out of his garage with a temperamental synthesizer that refused to behave. The machine would glitch randomly, creating unexpected sounds and mechanical stutters that drove most musicians crazy. But Fiedel heard something in those malfunctions, a cold, mechanical rhythm that perfectly matched the Terminator's relentless march. Instead of fighting the broken equipment, he leaned into it. The stutters became the heartbeat of a killer machine. He crafted the entire score around that malfunctioning synthesizer, creating layers of electronic menace that felt both futuristic and unsettling. The main theme's pounding rhythm mimics the Terminator's unstoppable advance, methodical, inhuman, inevitable. Fiedel's garage and his broken equipment produced a theme so iconic that audiences recognize it within seconds, proving that sometimes the best art comes from embracing imperfection. Number 13. The lawsuit that changed the credits. Success brought unexpected enemies. After The Terminator became a hit, acclaimed science fiction writer Harlan Ellison filed a lawsuit claiming the film borrowed heavily from his work on the Outer Limits television series. He pointed to episodes involving time travel and killer machines that shared suspicious similarities with Cameron's story. Cameron denied the allegations, insisting his fever dream was entirely original. The studio, however, wanted the controversy to disappear quietly. Rather than fight a prolonged legal battle, they reached a settlement with Ellison outside of court. The result was subtle but permanent. A single acknowledgement line was added to the credits of all future prints. Acknowledgement to the works of Harlan Ellison. That one sentence became part of the film's official history, a quiet admission that creative inspiration often draws from what came before. Ellison got his recognition, the studio avoided a messy trial, and audiences remained largely unaware of the controversy that nearly tarnished the film's legacy. Number 14. One animator, one frame at a time. The Terminator's terrifying final form didn't come from computers. CGI didn't exist yet. Every single frame of the metal skeleton stalking through the factory was animated by hand through stop-motion photography. Animator Doug Beswick spent countless hours moving the endoskeleton puppet in tiny increments, photographing each micro-movement individually. The process was painstaking and exhausting. Move the arm 1 millimeter, take a photo. Move the leg slightly, take another photo. Beswick worked in near isolation, his patience and precision creating the illusion of smooth, threatening movement. His dedication paid off in the film's most haunting moments, the damaged Terminator dragging itself forward with one arm, its red eyes glowing with mechanical determination. That sequence, which lasts only minutes on screen, represented weeks of solitary work. Beswick's frame-by-frame artistry gave the Terminator its final, most nightmarish form, proving that before digital effects revolutionized cinema, it was human patience and craftsmanship that brought monsters to life. Number 15. The scene too emotional to keep. Not every powerful moment makes the final cut. Michael Biehn filmed an emotionally raw scene where Kyle Reese breaks down completely, the weight of his mission and his hopeless situation crushing him. The moment was vulnerable, heartbreaking, and beautifully performed. Cameron cut it entirely. The director faced a difficult choice: keep the scene and show Reese's humanity, or remove it and preserve his hardened warrior persona. Reese was supposed to be a soldier forged in the fires of a nuclear apocalypse, someone who had seen humanity nearly destroyed. Cameron decided the emotional breakdown contradicted everything else about the character. Reese needed to be tough, focused, and battle-hardened from start to finish. Showing vulnerability would have made him more relatable, but less believable as a desperate fighter from a nightmare future. The scene disappeared from the film, existing only in memory and deleted footage, a reminder that sometimes the right creative choice means losing something beautiful. Number 16. The accent that almost ruined everything. Landing the role of Kyle Reese should have been straightforward for Michael Biehn, but he nearly lost it before he even started. When he walked into his audition, Biehn was still mentally stuck in another project, a Southern drama he'd just finished. Without thinking, he delivered his lines in a thick Southern accent. James Cameron's face fell immediately. This wasn't the hardened future soldier he'd written. This was someone who sounded like they'd stepped out of rural Alabama. The audition felt wrong, awkward, completely off target. Cameron thanked him politely, and Biehn left feeling like he'd blown his chance at something special. Bihn's agent made a desperate call, explaining the accent was a mistake from overlapping projects. Cameron reluctantly agreed to see him again. This time, Biehn came prepared, delivering the lines with the intensity and edge Cameron needed. Cameron cast him on the spot, and Biehn became the desperate warrior from the future, all because he got a second chance to leave the wrong accent behind. Number 17. The robot that kept breaking down. The animatronic Terminator was supposed to be the production's crowning achievement, but it became their biggest headache. The full-scale puppet constantly malfunctioned. Hydraulics would fail mid-scene, sparks would fly unexpectedly, and the mechanical systems refused to cooperate under the hot lights. Every day brought new disasters. The crew would be filming a crucial scene when suddenly the Terminator's arm would freeze or its head would droop unnaturally. Shooting would halt, while technicians rushed in with tools, making frantic repairs between takes. The pressure was immense. Every minute of delay cost money they didn't have. But those breakdowns forced creativity. Cameron learned to shoot around the limitations, using quick cuts and strategic angles to hide the puppet's failures. The constant malfunctions made the crew work faster and smarter. What should have ruined the production instead taught everyone that limitations can push you toward unexpected brilliance. Number 18. Cameron's 3 scripts at once. While most writers struggle with one screenplay, James Cameron was juggling 3 future classics simultaneously. In his small Los Angeles apartment, he worked on The Terminator while also writing Aliens and First Blood Part 2. His typewriter never stopped clicking, moving between 3 completely different worlds. Mornings might be spent in the future war against machines. Afternoons could shift to deep space horror with xenomorphs. Evenings belonged to Vietnam, veteran John Rambo's struggles. Cameron's mind operated like a machine itself, compartmentalizing each story without letting them bleed together. The workload was crushing, but Cameron thrived under pressure. He'd finish a scene for one script, push the pages aside, and immediately dive into another universe. That intense period of creativity shaped 3 films that would define 1980s action and science fiction. His apartment became a factory for iconic cinema, proving that genius doesn't wait for perfect conditions. It creates under whatever circumstances exist. Number 19. The Missing Liquid Metal Assassin. James Cameron's original vision was even more ambitious than what appeared on screen. His early drafts included 2 Terminators, one with a metal endoskeleton and another made entirely of liquid metal that could morph and reshape itself at will. The concept was revolutionary and terrifying, but 1984 technology couldn't bring that vision to life. Computer graphics were primitive, and practical effects couldn't simulate liquid metal convincingly. Cameron faced a painful choice: scale back his vision or watch the entire film collapse under impossible demands. He reluctantly shelved the liquid metal concept, keeping only the endoskeleton Terminator. That abandoned idea haunted him for years. When technology finally caught up in 1991, Cameron brought the liquid metal assassin back as the T-1000 in Terminator 2, Judgment Day. What started as a disappointed compromise in 1984 became a triumph 7 years later, proving that some ideas are simply ahead of their time and worth waiting for. Number 20. The Invisible Star. Arnold Schwarzenegger's face defined Terminator, yet he appears on screen for barely 16 minutes total. For a character that feels omnipresent throughout the film, his actual screen time is shockingly brief. Cameron understood that presence isn't measured in minutes, it's measured in impact. The director used careful pacing and perspective to make the Terminator feel like a constant threat, even when he wasn't visible. Sarah and Kyle's paranoia kept him alive in every scene. The audience felt him lurking around every corner, waiting in every shadow. His absence created more tension than his presence ever could. Cameron's editing made every second of Arnold's screen time count. Each appearance felt significant, dangerous, and memorable. The Terminator became proof that less can be more, that a character can dominate a film without dominating the runtime. By making Arnold scarce, Cameron made him unforgettable, turning limited screen time into maximum psychological impact. Number 21. The poster that lied. Marketing departments have always stretched the truth, but the Terminator's promotional posters took creative liberty to another level. The images showed Arnold wielding futuristic weapons, equipped with advanced laser sights, sleek red targeting beams that looked cutting-edge and high-tech. There was just one problem: none of it appeared in the actual film. The marketing team wanted the movie to look more technologically advanced than it actually was. They added laser effects to the weapons and post-production artwork, creating an illusion of futuristic firepower that the low budget couldn't afford. The posters promised a sci-fi spectacle with advanced weaponry that simply didn't exist on screen. Audiences who bought tickets expecting to see those laser-equipped guns were disappointed, but only briefly. The film's raw intensity and relentless pacing made the missing technology irrelevant. Cameron's vision proved more powerful than any marketing gimmick, teaching Hollywood that authentic storytelling beats false advertising every time. Number 22. When police almost shut down filming. Guerrilla filmmaking saved money, but nearly ended the production. To stretch their minimal budget, Cameron shot many scenes without proper permits, racing through locations before authorities could respond. During one intense chase sequence through Los Angeles streets, things went dangerously wrong. Police received calls about a violent confrontation involving weapons and people running through traffic. Officers arrived expecting to find a real crime in progress. Instead, they found Cameron's crew frantically filming without permission. The situation could have ended with arrests, confiscated equipment, and a dead production. Cameron talked fast, explaining the situation while showing whatever documentation he had. The officers were skeptical, but ultimately let them continue with a stern warning. That close call became part of the production's outlaw mythology. The scrappy run-and-gun approach saved thousands of dollars and gave the film a raw, documentary-style energy that polished studio productions could never match. Number 23. Cameron's pawn shop screenplay. Desperation fueled creativity in James Cameron's early career, but it also meant making painful sacrifices. While writing The Terminator, Cameron was completely broke, unable to pay rent, buy food, or afford basic necessities. His desperation led him to a pawn shop with everything he owned. He pawned his car first, then his television, then finally his typewriter, the very tool he needed to finish the script. Each item brought a few dollars that kept him alive for another week. He'd write by hand, visit libraries to use their typewriters, and borrow equipment from friends whenever possible. Those pawn shop visits became a ritual of sacrifice and commitment. Cameron was literally betting everything on his vision, trading survival for the chance to finish his story. When the script finally sold and production began, he bought everything back. But those desperate months taught him that true dedication means risking everything, and that hunger, both literal and creative, can forge determination that comfort never could. Number 24. The delay that saved the movie. Arnold Schwarzenegger's contractual obligation to Conan the Destroyer threatened to destroy the Terminator before filming even began. The delay pushed production back by several months, and the studio considered canceling the entire project. The wait seemed like a death sentence for Cameron's dream, but that forced pause became an unexpected gift. Cameron used the extra months to refine the script, tightening dialogue and improving action sequences. Stan Winston got additional time to perfect the endoskeleton design. The entire crew used the delay to solve technical problems and plan more ambitious shots. When filming finally started, everyone was more prepared than they would have been months earlier. The script was sharper, the effects were better, and Cameron's vision was clearer. What felt like disaster was actually providence. The delay transformed a rushed production into a carefully crafted film. Arnold's scheduling conflict accidentally saved The Terminator from being a half-finished compromise. Number 25. The night Arnold became the Terminator. Method acting takes many forms, but Arnold Schwarzenegger found his character in the most unexpected place. During a lunch break, while filming in full Terminator costume and makeup, Arnold decided not to change. He walked into a nearby diner, still wearing the leather jacket, sunglasses, and cold expression of the killer machine. The restaurant fell silent. Customers froze mid-bite, staring at this massive figure moving with mechanical precision through the door. Arnold didn't break character. He ordered food in the Terminator's flat, emotionless tone. No smiles, no small talk, just cold, efficient communication. For those few minutes, the line between actor and character vanished completely. People in that diner weren't watching Arnold Schwarzenegger. They were face to face with the Terminator itself. That moment crystallized everything Cameron wanted from the performance. Pure, inhuman menace that made people instinctively afraid. Arnold walked out having fully inhabited the character, and everyone who witnessed it would never forget the day a killing machine ordered lunch. The Terminator started as nothing more than a fever dream in a Roman hotel room, but it became something far greater through sheer will and determination. Every obstacle, broken machines, malfunctioning equipment, legal battles became part of its legend. Cameron and his crew built a masterpiece from scraps, sweat, and refusal to quit. A $1 script sale, a coat from a thrift store, an endoskeleton crafted in a hotel room. Each limitation forced innovation. Each setback revealed new possibilities. The chaos wasn't a problem to overcome. It was the crucible that forged something extraordinary. If you love uncovering the hidden secrets behind iconic films, hit that like and subscribe button. Which secret from the Terminator shocked you the most? Tell us in the comments below.